Good evening and welcome to Citizen AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. Good evening once again. I hope I find you well. It's Friday, I believe the 16th. It's the 18th. Friday the 18th of December. Friday 18th of December. One more day to the special day that we must observe. Hope you all know that. We must observe that day. Now, I want to, in addition to that date, I want to oblige you. I want to indulge you. I want to indulge you in something that's really, really important. I'm about to show you a video, a short clip. I won't show all of it and I'll show a bit. It's from the Journey of an African Colony by Olasupo Sasore. Basically, what it talks about there is very important. The very foundations, in fact, one of the very founding foundations of Nigeria began all the way back in 1851. The very foundation of what you now know as Nigeria, which is a fraud, began all the way then. But for this event that I'm about to discuss with you, Nigeria will probably not be in existence. Maybe not in this exact form, maybe even not even the name. But let's go into it. Now, I'm going to try and show you something. Just bear with me. I'm going to just bring in the information that I want you to see. Hope it's going to come up. Sometimes it will just do that, but it's okay. Have a look at it. We're looking at. Okay, so I'm just going to bring that back up. 1 second, please. Here we are. Okay, so now I'm going to play you this clip. Just bear with me. Listen.
But in actual fact, it was trade and the extraction of wealth. And that's why the method of possessing the colonies was always from the coast.
The voice you're hearing is that of Olasupo Sasore, the man who did the program. It's called the Journey of an African Colony. But this is really important because I'm going to, after that, ask you to help observe a very important moment. Something perhaps that hasn't been done for all of over 100 years. Yeah, exactly, over 100 years. So, in fact, I mean, so we're over 150 years now, I should say. So, let's listen on. Let's listen on.
To the inland. That's why the taking of the West African territory in the Niger area started with Lagos.
I'm an urban historian and a speculative cartographer. What this means is that in thinking about the history of cities, I really think about the role that maps and spatial history, so specifically maps and map making, the role that they play in understanding the history of a place and the people who live there. One of the things I do in this kind of map making is that with ArcGIS, you can actually take historical maps and contemporary maps of cities and do what we call georeferencing, which is basically just, assigning spatial data to old maps. So for instance, if something has always been there, that can be one reference point through time. And what we can do is we can layer these maps and we can actually compare and contrast, look through them, and with the spyglass application, we can actually peer through the present into the past to really think about the old parts of the city.
This spatial history technique was essential to understand the truth about the Lagos attack and the beginning of empire in the Nigeria to be. In the official report of the events that led to the reduction of Lagos in 1851, Captain Jones's letter to Commodore Bruce of the Royal Navy, reporting what had happened on December the 29th, 1851, read as follows. Sir, the island of Lagos and its dependencies are prostrate before us, ours by the right of conquest, to deal
Ours by the right of conquest. Remember those words.
with as might be most expedient. Everyone had fled. It was more a destruction, not a reduction. Do such reports seek to sanitize our 1851 history?
The reduction of Lagos is actually a really interesting case because it's actually been quite controversial in the ways that people have seen it. Earlier historians have talked about how, from the British side, how it was really a benevolent act to sort of rescue us and liberate us from, slavery, enslavement, things like that. But then later, Nigerian historians, when we began to write sort of academic histories, really pushed back on this narrative that actually England had a lot to gain from actually taking over Lagos, because they know that whoever controls Lagos controls not only the lagoon routes, but also the sea routes. And so, which is why you see after the British come in and they reinstall Akitoye, you then see that people come flooding from all over, not just that part of the Bight of Benin, but all over West Africa, from Freetown, from Abeokuta, from Badagry. Everyone wants to be in Lagos because this is not only a commercial hub, but also geographically the center of so much that is possible in West Africa. So really, there's really a lot at stake in who controlled the city and the island.
Taking the Kingdom of Lagos for the British Crown was by no means straightforward. At the failed attack of the 25th of November 1851, the Africans had inflicted injury and loss of pride on their invaders. The British Navy, long known as the world's naval superpower, deemed their attack a failure and retreated to return only 1 month later with increased firepower. And so the two African kings were at war, nephew and uncle, King Kosoko and King Akitoye. The war set the context for the British invasion that was soon to come. Akitoye was desperate to regain power after 10 years of being forced out of power by his nephew, King Kosoko. Akitoye teamed up with the British and assisted the invasion of his own kingdom. Kosoko obviously was up to the task of the defense. And as part of the defense that Kosoko put up for defending the kingdom, there were 60 cannons, very similar to the one I'm standing in front of here now. And these 60 cannons lined up the shoreline to protect the kingdom from what was clearly going to be the Royal Navy attack. There were 100 dugout canoes with well-armed men and 5,000 musketeers placed in strategic places in the bush. You can imagine the awesome sight of the 20-ship armada of the British Royal Navy approaching the Lagos shoreline. And so, on the 24th of December 1851, the first attack came.
Right. I'm going to stop it there. I want to read the words here. You had, that was Olasupo Sasore that spoke on that video. It's all to do with our history. I'm mentioning him here because it is credit must be given to those who produced that. I didn't produce. Mentioning him so that not something I could. The Journey of an African Colony by Olasupo Sasore. Because of the mentioning that we can talk about this issue, because this is an important issue that impacts the lives of all of us combined as you. To understand the foundation, again, I state again clearly, categorically, when you fully understand, when you read all of this, you will understand we cannot in any way accept this thing called Nigeria, post or not. So I'm going to just read this here. The wretched appearance of this town, destroyed by cannon and fire, made the saddest impression on me. One could see only the odd inhabitant here and there, wandering among the rubble of houses to dig for food and other articles which had been abandoned by those who had fled. When I arrived, Everyone rushed to the beach and was able to ascertain that out of 22,000 inhabitants of this town, only 5,000 to 6,000 remained. Most of them were old men, women, and children unable to face the hardship of the long journey that they would have had to take. Memoirs of Gambiatista Scala, 1852. Now, you saw the beginning of the attack. It was on the 24th of November. 24th of December. Remember, in earlier November, there was an attack that was repelled by King Kosoko, and they came back with more firepower. Began on the 24th, ended on 28th. Now, we need to mark. We put it on the 25th. There is a deliberate reason why. If you're being asked to celebrate a religion and everything else around that, when that is all really about taking your land, then it's important that you remember those of your dead on that very, very day that they want you to celebrate. The 25th of December is chosen for this particular reason, because we need to remember our dead. We need to remember that they reduced. This is what they mean by the reduction of Lagos. The words there, you can see the words there, it says 22,000 inhabitants were reduced. Okay? So, what I will say to you all is this. On the 25th of December at 11 a.m. Nigeria time, which will be 10 o'clock UK time, we need to observe a minute silence. We must observe a minute silence. So I'm putting this is central to everything that we're doing. If we know, now that we know that, but for, if this incident, if this reduction of Lagos hadn't happened, who knows, maybe Nigeria might never have happened. We know that because the evidence is there. And 22,000 people, it was reduced to 6,000. Many died unaccounted for. Many maimed. Old men and women and children were left to face what was to come. They couldn't go on the journey. And I'm sure many died along the way and many were injured. So for that reason, I would like us all to remember those that were. From the 24th of December to the 28th of December, when they ended their 4-day invasion. It's an invasion. 4-day invasion. It's not a war. It's an invasion. So we are picking the 25th of December to have a minute silence. In the middle of this so-called celebrations, we need to remember our own dead. We must. By the way, when they're doing their remembrance, they're remembering every year. We need to remember our dead and those that were killed every year. We need to remember them. It is our role. We must do that. Ká máa ṣe lọ́dọọdún. Aláti ìyẹn ló ń pè ní tútù ká máa rántí àwọn tí wọ́n ti lọ. Rán mi yẹn yín, ẹ jẹ́ á ṣe. So, torí náà mo kàn fẹ́ sọ yẹn ni. So please, I urge you all, 25th of December, I'm going to put it on the top of this. I'm going to ask everybody, when you see this video, please share it. Now, I'm going to go to the next thing I want to show you. Now, and show you, no, I'm going to go back. Yeah. Okay, sorry, I need to go back. I think I need to come out of it. Let's see, how does that work? Okay, yes, now, a man, I'm not going to call him a sir, wrote a letter on behalf of Her Majesty. That was the Queen Victoria at the time. She was the one on the throne. It's important to know that. And her government were the one that invaded Eko. They invaded Eko because they wanted it. They wanted the land. You heard all the stories about how important Lagos was to the whole of West Africa. They wanted it. It's very important. When you're hearing this, I'm giving you conclusive proof of why you need to make sure that Nigeria is scrubbed out of our own history in future going forward. we need to scrub it out because it was imposed. It wasn't something we wanted. They took over our land. That's what happened. This was her government. This was all done under her government. Now this man, sorry, go back again. Go back. This man is called Gaverson, let me see, Granville, yeah. This man, Granville Leverson Gawa. Granville Leverson Gawa. You see, Granville. They call him, they've given a royal, some sort of official title. I'm not going to use that. He doesn't deserve that because he killed our own people. Granville Leverson Gawa. Listen to what he said. After the reduction, and he wrote this in January 1852, in January, a few weeks after the horrendous event that reduced the reduction. And they call it, when you go and speak to people, ask people, Awenyawa ompeni Ogun Ahoyaya, tabi Ogun Agidingbi. Ogun Ahoyaya, abi Ogun Agidingbi. So, listen to what he said. Listen to the words he wrote. They wrote an apology letter, if you can call it that. But listen, it says here, I have to acquaint you that Her Majesty's government, which is this woman, that's the woman, Queen Victoria. Her Majesty's government, I have to acquaint you that Her Majesty's government is of the opinion that you are not born out of either by the circumstances of the case or by your instructions from Her Majesty's government. Once again, instruction from our government in directing that Her Majesty's naval forces should land and attack Lagos, and Her Majesty's government greatly regrets the loss of life which has been the consequence of that attack. Granville Leverson Goa. Foreign Affairs, January 1852. So they admitted that they carried out an attack against people that there was nowhere, there was nobody. We didn't send any boat to UK, to Great Britain, to go and attack anybody. But they came to attack us under the guise of trying to unseat on throne, to help somebody. The aim all along was to take over Lagos because of the strategy, the strategic location and the impact on the whole of West Africa. That's what they were after. This is why when you're hearing what we're saying, when we say, I say it categorically, none of us can support this fraud called Nigeria, because it was, I keep telling you, they spilled the blood of our ancestors. This is the evidence. And those spilled blood, we must remember. We need to remember. So when you see this video, I don't care who you are, if you're Igbo or Yoruba, share it. This is evidence that we need to use to make sure that we dismantle the fraud called Nigeria. It was imposed. We never wanted it. Our blood was spilled. Our ancestral blood was spilled. And we don't remember them. We must remember them. 25th of December, 11 a.m. Nigeria time, 10 a.m. UK time. Let's remember them. A minute silence. And we will talk about it. I will talk about the pictures. And I'm reminding you all, it's called Ogun Ahoyaya or Ogun Agidingbi. One of those two. That's what it's called. People in Lagos will know that name when you mention it. It should be in part of the history that was told. 22,000. A population of 22,000 was reduced to 6,000. Houses in rubble. You read it. Now, what is more, when that happened, despite this charade of an apology, listen to what happened next. This is why it's very important to understand that we cannot support this thing called Nigeria. Listen. Here we go. Now, on the 6th of August, 1852, which is exactly 10 years, or just about 10 years, when that reduction took place. Look at what you see here. You see, these are British officials around King Dosumu, who was the king 10 years down the line. King Dosumu was made to sign on board HMS Prometheus. He was made to sign a document to cede the power of Eko to the UK government, to her government, to cede power to her government. I'm showing you pictures here. And this is a royal king of Eko, a kingdom of Eko that they took. They had no right to take it. Under the guise of trying to put the other king, King Akintoye. Of course, they were planning. All of it was planned. They forced him. Look at the way they sat around him. So on the 25th of December, 11 a.m., we must remember our ancestors. The reduction of Lagos, 22,000 reduced to 6,000. That's what it means. So when you hear the word the reduction of Lagos, you will get the proper context now. And you will need to know. This happened 10 years after the reduction of Lagos. They forced the king to become a vassal king. And that was the beginning of what you now call. That's why we are saying and not support this contraption. We need to remember our dead. We must. So I urge you all. I hope this is something that you can learn from. I hope you find this beneficial. When you see this message, share it. Share it. I urge you to please share it. Tell everyone you know. 25th of December, 11 a.m. Nigeria time. It will be 10 a.m. here. Nigeria, because it happened in Nigeria. We want to remember our dead. We want to remember them. Let's hold a minute silence. I will be here. I will come into, you will see me do this live. I'll be here at 10 a.m. UK time, which will be 11 a.m. sharp Nigeria. Please join us. Thank you all very much. May our ancestors' souls rest in peace. And we will remember them. We will never ever forget them. Every year, I want everybody to be involved in this. On the 25th of December from henceforth, at exactly 11 a.m. in Nigeria and around the world, every Yoruba person must remember, because this is the beginning of where you call Nigeria, which has oppressed us ever since. Remember that. Oh, do I